Hello, this is the third video in the core chemistry series. In our last video, we covered the fundamental components of an atom, such as protons, neutrons, electrons, and their charges. Building on our understanding of the structure of an atom, we will now look into elements. Substances composed solely of a single kind of element, such as hydrogen, carbon, or iron, are called elements. Remember from the past video that in the nucleus of an atom, there are subatomic particles called protons and neutrons. What makes an atom unique is the number of protons contained in its nucleus. The number of protons is what determines the kind of element the atom is. An element is a substance whose atoms all have the same number of protons in its nucleus. A common example of an element is the metal aluminum. You can find it commonly in pop cans. Carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen are three gaseous elements that are around you all the time in the air. It is important to note that not all substances are elements. For instance, water is not an element, as there is no such thing as a water atom. However, water is made up of various elements, these elements being hydrogen and oxygen. When a substance is not a pure element and is bonded to another element, it is considered a compound. A compound is defined as a substance that is made up of bonded elements. Examples of compounds include water, sugar, and table salt. Elements are represented by various symbols to help scientists use a shorthand to write out the names of the elements. Even a scientist would tire of writing out the word ununoctium. The symbol for the element hydrogen is H, and the element oxygen is represented by O. These are relatively easy to remember, as the symbols are simply the first letter of the element. However, elements like iron can be more difficult to remember, as iron is represented by Fe. This is because the Latin name for iron is ferrum. In total, there are 118 different identified elements which can occur. These elements include atoms as small as hydrogen with a single proton, all the way to atoms like ununoctium with 118 protons in its nucleus. Scientists need a way to categorize elements, so they label elements based on the properties of the atom which compose them. One of these labels is the atomic number. The atomic number is equal to the number of protons in the nucleus. For instance, hydrogen's atomic number would be 1, as hydrogen has a single positively charged proton inside its nucleus. For ununoctium, the atom number would be 118, because it has 118 protons inside its nucleus. Every element has its own unique atomic number because each element has a distinctive amount of protons. These elements don't just appear out of nowhere. For the most part, the first elements that have up to 92 protons in their nucleus occur naturally on the Earth. Technetium, with 43 protons, and promethium, which has 61 protons, are the only exceptions. These, as well as other elements whose proton counts are above 92, are man-made elements. They do not occur naturally, but are rather created in labs by scientists. Uranium has 92 protons in its nucleus, meaning it is the element with the most protons that is still found naturally on the Earth. Man-made elements are considered transuranium elements because their atomic numbers are higher than uranium's. Now that we are aware what makes an element and what sort of elements are out there, let's review the concepts that we covered. First of all, elements are made of only one type of atom, unlike compounds, which can be made of several elements. Elements have symbols. The number of protons defines the element, and the atomic number is equal to the number of protons. Transuranium elements are man-made elements. That is all for today. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.
冰啊